Hi, Paul. I'm interested in what you can tell me about your process of preparing your team for the game for game two with the unknown of whether or not Mark Scheifele is going to be in the lineup.
I mean, the team game, what needs to get done, the areas that we want to improve on aren't related to Mark, right? It's what you go through after every loss in the playoffs. You want to deal with it, you want to cut it off, and you want a fresh start the next day. So we'll deal with our lineup as we do with injuries in any situation. But how we prep for the game in terms of what we want to do as a team wouldn't change whether Mark was in it or not.
We'll go back to Sean Reynolds for a follow-up. Go ahead, Sean.
Paul, I would assume that part of that preparation is, the old handling the highs and lows. I'm wondering if managing emotions is more difficult after a situation like Mark's hit, or if it's pretty much the same process.
Yeah, there's always things that crop up in a playoff series that you may not have expected. This is the year that we're in, right? The unexpected situation. So I don't think anything changes there, Sean.
We'll go next to Ken Wiebe from Sportsnet. Go ahead, Weber.
Thanks, Gregor. Paul, you mentioned yesterday you may have a better update on Dylan DeMello. What can you tell us about?
Yeah, he's still getting looked at, Ken. I don't have a definitive answer for you yet.
How about Stastny?
Say he's not getting looked at. We know what we're dealing with there. We're just hoping he feels good for the game.
We'll go next to Jeff Hamilton from the Winnipeg Free Press. Go ahead, Jeff.
Thanks, Gregor. Hi, Paul. Obviously when hits that occurred, like the one that occurred last night, you're going to get a varied amount of opinions. There are going to be people falling on different sides of the ledger depending on how you view the game or, even what team you cheer for. One of the questions that keeps being asked is, was the hit necessary? With options that maybe going after the puck or doing that. I mean, if it is a clean hit or whatever, hits are allowed. Where do you fall in that category on necessary, given everything involved?
You need to do everything you can to stop a goal from being scored. Hitting's part of the game. It was a heavy hit for sure, but it was clean. So it's part of the game. And then I don't even like that phrase because depending, as you said, what flags on your car, you have a different opinion on that. But their guy took a hit to make a play. Our guy made a hit. It won him the game. Move on.
We'll go next to Paul Friesen from the Winnipeg Sun. Go ahead, Paul.
Hey, Paul, it was an eventful night for Mark. You wouldn't have been thrilled with that roughing minor he took there in the third at a bad time.
There's no penalty there. Look we know how these scrums are going to work. They're looking for one guy.
My question was going to be, did you think Mark lost his cool a bit in the third?
No, I liked his game. Like, he was playing hard. I think that was the line that had it going. He wasn't frustrated. I liked his game. Lots of emotion, lots of intensity. There's a scrum to the net. They decided that was the time they were going to pull one guy out. Fine. No, I thought he was right on.
We'll go next to Jean-François Chaumont from Journal de Montréal. Go ahead, JF.
Hi, Paul. We don't know the sanction yet, but if Mark is not available for the upcoming games, do you believe that a player like Pierre-Luc Dubois can be a key contributor for the Jets if he's playing in the middle and with the way he was playing last year in the bubble with Columbus also?
Yeah, we got lots of faith in this young man to play well, whether he's Mark's in the lineup or not. I think he got a lot stronger as the game went on, made a great assist on the goal that got kind of within one, and a real nice job net front on the 6-on-5 goal. So, yeah, I mean, he's going to be called on whether Mark's in the lineup or not. Pierre-Luc's going to be a big piece of our success.
We'll go next to Sarah Oleski from TSN. Go ahead, Sarah.
Hi, Paul. Just with the adversity that this team is facing, do you feel that your group is any better prepared or better suited to handle it this year than maybe what we saw in the bubble last season?
Yeah, it's just a completely different situation. We've got a season that we're real attached to. We've lost our first playoff game. We didn't lose 3 guys in one game, so I think we won our second one in the bubble too. So we'll be all right.
We'll go next to Murat Atesh from The Athletic. Go ahead, Murat.
Thanks, Gregor. Hi, Paul. I think a moment ago you said the hit was clean, and I'm wondering if you can expand on what makes it so, and as well, perhaps does the injury and how that looked perhaps influence how public perception is seeing it as well?
Well, for me, the feet are on the ice, the arms are tucked in, and it's a body contact. That's the way I see it.
We'll go next to Alexander Gamble from NHL.com. Go ahead, Alex.
Hey, Paul. Of all the remaining teams in the playoffs, your team has the least first and second period goals, but you are one of the best teams in third period scoring and overtime goals. And I just wonder.
You froze up. You froze up on me. I'll try to ask myself a question that I want to answer anyway. So you said we haven't scored much in the first and second, but we scored a bunch in the third.
That makes you almost unstoppable late in the game, but make.
Yeah. I think playoff games start tight, all of them for the most part. I mean, we're not blowing the doors off anybody, and that's been kind of our style of game all year. We played pretty hard, so it's been a tight game early. I mean, talking about 5 games, I'm not sure how big a sample size that is, but we seem to get stronger as the game goes on. Or we in the Edmonton series, we didn't have long leads, right? We played an entire overtime game with nobody having the lead till Paul Stastny shot. So I don't think that's necessarily indicative of the game. If you have we've had to come back in 2 of them, so we've been able to do that. We weren't able to do it the last game. So 2 out of the 3 we've been able to come back in. Teams protect leads in the third. Playoffs, a whole different level of tension. So it's not we're not trying to play a rope-a-dope to the third period. We've got a more powerful team than that. But we've played 5 games and we played 3 of them without 2 pretty important pieces. So we've had to manage that a little bit in each one of those games. We didn't have Pierre-Luc in game 1 or Pierre-Luc and Nick Ehlers in game 2 and Paul Stastny in game 1 of this series. So we're trying to play a real smart, tight game. It got away from us early, and I think we chased the game a little bit last night, and we'll try to be better tomorrow.
We'll go back to Jeff Hamilton from the Free Press. Go ahead, Jeff.
Well, you've mentioned twice now that you've liked Mark's intensity. You mentioned last night that he seemed right on the bench, so he wasn't negative or anything. But on the ice, it was clear that the Montreal Canadiens got under his skin. Whether it was,
I don't agree with you.
No,
no. So just watch the play. Right, this play is good. He's on the puck. He's tight turning. He's generating stuff. I mean, that was the line that we had it going. I mean, the chirping after doesn't matter. He's not hanging around their bench screaming at him. He's coming back to the bench talking to our guys. He's excited about going out for his next shift. Like he was good, man.
See, I understand that, but there were moments where, it wasn't typical Mark Scheifele. I think you can make the argument that some of those actions, albeit maybe not negative towards the team or in your impression, but they weren't Mark Scheifele. So I'm just kind of curious where you appreciate that intensity, where Mark's leaned on for offense. We've said this numerous times, and then last night he did get engaged in the extracurriculars way more often than he ever does.
So that was just not my perception of what happened out there. I mean, it wasn't a particularly physical game. There were some hits, but it wasn't. There's a little bit of chirping, but there wasn't a whole lot of it. I mean, he absolutely clobbered the guy at the end of the game. The scrum, I mean, for the penalty, I don't know, you can pick a guy out of scrum every day. I mean, that was a judgment call, not an obvious, oh my God, what's going on with Mark Scheifele. I just don't agree with it.
Just a couple more for Paul. We'll go back to Jean-François Chaumont. Go ahead, Jeff.
Hi, Paul. When we were looking at the historic of Mark, and this year it's only 12 penalty minutes. His career, it's 48. He's not a dirty player. I'm just curious to know, have you talked with him this morning to know how he's feeling and what was his reaction when he came to the ring this morning?
I mean, yeah, man, I've talked to everybody this morning. So he's, whatever penalty minutes, he had 3 hits in the he's a big, strong, powerful man that can skate. In order to try to cut that play off, he was skating pretty good. He wasn't striding through the hit by any means, and it was a hell of a hit. I mean, it was hard, good on Evans. He took the hit to make the play. I didn't have to bring in Oprah or Dr. Phil to sit down and Mark to see how he's feeling this morning.
Final question to Ken Weaver from Sportsnet. Go ahead, Weaver.
Paul, if DeMello is not available, what factors will go into who replaces him?
I mean, I've already got that sorted out. So put in the guy that I think can best do the job.
Thanks very much, Coach.